Hello, guys. Welcome, everybody, to Purple A's podcast. I am your host who bleeds purple and gold, Isaac here. So, what I'm gonna discuss, though, and it's not going to change at all. I'm going to discuss the state of the Vikings trenches and what they really need to do. Obviously, it is one of the biggest problems that the Vikings have right now, as opposed to running back, cornerback, just those positions. But the biggest issue and the biggest hole that the Vikings have right now is the trenches. Both sides of the trenches, anyways. I mean, basically, right now, the defensive linemen of the Vikings, yes, though, it is. Yes, it was better than 2023. It was better than their production with Dean Lowry and company. But now with Harrison Phillips, Jonathan Bullard, and Jerry Tillery, it's been a lot better, but we need to see a little more fire. But here's the deal, though. With basically the defensive linemen that we have right now, it seems kind of pretty evident that almost every time the Vikings would do a four-man rush, or Brian Flores would do a four-man rush, they almost always don't get there. It's like they have to blitz every single time to get to the quarterback, or it might be from the edge rushers. So that's not acceptable to have. You need a true bully up there in the box, whether it's for run stopping, whether it's getting after the quarterback in a four-man rush. You need that kind of guy, like a Kevin Williams, like Linval Joseph in the 2000s, in the 2010s. You need that kind of defensive lineman, because guess what? If you're gonna bring a four-man rush, you need something where you don't always have to blitz, because blitzing would only work to a certain extent. That's when teams start to pick up on offenses, start to pick up on what Flores is gonna do, which is blitzing. You need a big man in the box to say, "Oh wait, they don't always have to blitz. They could just four-man rush us too, so it doesn't matter what we do." So yeah, you need to get to that point, and the defense will be a whole lot better with that. So that's one of their main priorities. And I would say they need to absolutely tear down is the interior offensive line. Okay, the left tackles, Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill, all right, we can keep those guys if we wanted to. Okay, fine. But the interior offensive line is where it's at. It was so bad. It's been bad with the interior offensive line going back, like, who knows when we've seen quality interior offensive line become great or be consistently good enough in games. I mean, they have been better, but still, though, they've allowed 16 sacks, they've had 12 penalties, 112 in quarterback pressures. That's not including all the offensive line. This is the interior offensive line numbers, in which case, for your information, it's not good. It ain't good to give up those kind of numbers, because, I mean, Garrett Bradbury, we drafted him in 2018. It is time to stop the Garrett Bradbury era. Let's stop. He does nothing but commit sacks, give up penalties. That's all he does. What good is he? He's done nothing. He's done nothing but self-sabotage the offensive line. I'm done with Garrett Bradbury. He is as light as a feather, and he no longer needs to be on the field. Ed Ingram, I think we basically I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe he might be good or not. But no, he hasn't gotten better either. And Blake Brandel, I thought maybe he might be a solid replacement for guard, but I was wrong. He's not. He isn't any better, really. I mean, Dalton Reisner, I mean, he's already on his contract unless you want to maybe give him an extension and save yourself the steps, which he hasn't done too bad, but I feel like you still need to tear it down. Because you can't continue on with this regime of an interior offensive line. You can't sit there and just do nothing about it. You need to do that is one of your main priorities. I don't care if it's in free agency or in the draft. You need to address it because you have a quarterback in JJ McCarthy who's going to be out there. You cannot have him be killed again because he got hurt last time. I don't know if it was the offensive line. It's still unknown how he got hurt. But you cannot have your young quarterback in JJ McCarthy killed again. You cannot do that because he needs an offensive line. Every quarterback needs an offensive line. Like every single one. Every one. You can't allow this kind of offensive line to run this kind of offense because it can only go so far, and at some point he's going to get his head smashed in, and that is not okay to have. So you need to, that is the biggest issue. Then the deep in the trenches, the biggest issue is the interior offensive line. And those are basically the biggest issues, is both sides of the trenches. But if you continue to do that, then I don't know what to think about Kwesi. I'm going to choose Kwesi and trust him to just rip off the Band-Aid and move on from the players that I just mentioned and start from scratch with the offensive line. And then you'll have a successful offense like no other. Who knows? Who knows what JJ McCarthy will do? So, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Skol Vikings.